What is up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we're going to talk about turning the heat up, putting a little pressure on our dogs, and getting them pushed a little bit harder. Let's go ahead and break this thing down, dude. So let's go ahead and jump into the video. It's putting pressure on our dog to perform more, to get pushed harder. It is exactly what it sounds like. We're going to push the dog a lot harder than we normally would. First things first, how we're going to do that is we're going to hunt it more, right? That's the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to hunt it more, put it in the woods more, take it to different spots, recut it, redump it, recut it, redump it. Just mix this whole thing up and apply the heat, apply the pressure, keep them out for longer, run them all night, for example. Get them ran. We'll just put the heat on them to just really see how they perform when the pressure's on. Okay, so when we're in the early on, the dogs, they have an idea that they want the coon, right? Some dogs really get this really quick, right? Their whole drive is about the coon, right? That's what they're out there for. They're out there looking for the coon. Other dogs are like, I'll kind of mill around, and then I'll check out a coon, or they'll quit them or whatever. But once we get a dog to a point to where when you cut it in the woods, it's wanting to go tree coons, we can use this in our advantage, right? So some dogs will look really good at this stage. They'll be really quick about it. They'll go out there and get the job done. They'll do whatever. But some dogs are just down here, right? They're just down here in that we're not getting it done so hot. We're not getting it done so fast. So we can put pressure on these dogs to really heat them up and try to see if this is the issue. Maybe I'm not hunting them hard enough, because some dogs do really well with a lot of pressure. Other dogs crumble under pressure, right? So putting them in the woods more, or recutting them more, hunting them for longer periods of time is going to help you get this dog shaken up and see if the pressure applied is going to work. And like I said, what I was just talking about is once they develop this, they want it, right? So they want the coon, right? So that's why they're out there, they're doing their best. They want the coon. We can use this against them, right? We can use this in our advantage against them. If we have a dog that is milling around constantly, but it still will tree a coon, what we can do is when it mills around, we just pack it up, take it straight to the house, and lay it up for a day, bring it back out. They start milling around again, put them right back in the box, take them right back home. And eventually what's going to happen is you're going to catch the dog on that day to where it says, all right, I'm going for it. And they're not going to mill around, they're going to go get it done. And then we continue on hunting. And then once they come to a place where they're milling around, we put them in a box, we take them home, right? So they're learning through extended periods of time over multiple nights of hunting that if you mill, you go home. If you hunt, you stay out. And if you want the coon, you have to stay out. So they won't mill if we're putting them up for milling, right? So if they have the drive and they have the want to for the coon, they're going to try their hardest to not get put back in the truck and get took home, right? So that's one thing that we can do. Especially another thing that we can do here is keep the pressure on them. Is you come back, you get leashed, right? You come back, you get leashed. That's something that we can do. I wouldn't do this to a huge extent because it could turn into a dog coming back just to get leashed, but you would be in a pretty sad predicament if your dog's coming back to you to get leashed up, right? So if a dog has the want to and has the drive to go out there, and you have a dog that is hit or miss, sometimes is and sometimes ain't doing exactly what it's supposed to do, when it comes back, we're just going to leash it, right? And we'll walk it around for maybe 10 minutes on a leash, and then we'll recut it and see how it acts. If it comes back, we'll release it, keep it on the leash for about 10 minutes, walk it around. And once it really starts wanting to get after something, we'll just, nope, you're not getting it this time. We're going to walk you on by. And when we get up here, I'm going to cut you up here and we'll see how you act then, right? So we can use the dog's want to against it for our benefit. And as long as we're doing it in a very considerate and a very mindful way, it will be to the dog's benefit as well, right? We can nip some of this stuff in the butt by being this way. Another way here, if we're walk hunting a dog, right? So if you guys want me to make a video on how to get to stop walk hunting, I will do that. Well, this would be for like the walk hunting guys, right? So if we're walk hunting a dog, a good thing to do here is going to be, number one, when they peel off, wait for them, okay, for them to come back. So if we're having range issues, they could kind of solve that, but just pick up our pace, right? We're not going to wait around so long for a dog to get out, right? We're just going to fast walk, And if they do not take off in that time that you fast walk, don't give them time to mill, right? They're going to have to get off and go for it, right? So if normally we're just kind of putting along really nice, the dog goes out 100 yards, comes back, and we're just walking around, goes out a couple 100 yards and comes back, and we're just milling around in the woods, because that's kind of what woods time is. But we need to pick that up and transfer that over into something that looks a lot better. And how we can do that is pick up our walking speed, pick up our pace versus the dog. And if the dog is hitting something that is just kind of being like, that ain't going to be nothing, like he's just kind of going a quarter of a mile an hour, plotting off into bushes, we can just keep walking, right? Nope, I'm not waiting on you for that one. And when we get to one where they peel off, then we'll wait for those ones. And then the dog will start understanding, if I'm going to dart off and go do something, he'll wait for me. But if I'm just going to like mess around in the bushes over here 5 feet, and he's just going to walk off and leave me, I'm going to have to keep up with him. So we can apply pressure on dogs that way. And again, guys, we have a huge range of dogs and a huge range of different independence level. Like, there's dogs that will absolutely tree coons, but they will not do it without being walked right over top of them, right? There is dogs that will range out, go 400 or 500 yards and not even strike and come back, right? So we have all this range of things that we can address in different ways, and applying pressure sometimes can help. So, but definitely, if we get a dog that we're pretty confident in, like when we cut it in the woods, it's going to come up with something. It's going to come up with a tree, especially if they're out, if they're moving, if we're not having a hard time or bad weather. If we put a dog in a decent situation, it's going to do what it's supposed to. Then we can start heating them up and really get to putting some more hunt on them and put some more hunt in them and see how far we can push these dogs. And our demeanor, number one, is what's going to dictate how that dog reacts. So if we change our demeanor, we can go from very lax demeanor when we're training, oh, we don't really care so much, to I'm a little bit more serious. I'm going to be a little bit more stern with my commands. I'm going to be a little bit more less lenient on a leash. You're not going to have that much time to be messing around before I go in there and get you and take you home, or before I call you out of there, leash you up, walk you in there another 10 minutes, something like that, and recut you that way. But we can apply pressure and get a dog pushed. The other thing that I want to tell y'all is Dog and Hunt is having a huge sale and a huge customer day and huge giveaways coming up on the 13th and the 14th. So y'all check that out. Well, I'm going to give some shout outs right here. Okay, so number one, I'm going to give a huge shout out to Nick at Night Life. Thank you for coming in and commenting on the video. I had that video to where I was kind of breaking down YouTube and how coon hunting and all that stuff fits in there. I hope I didn't make anybody upset or anything like that, but I think you're a lot better than that, and you definitely come in and had some very constructive things to say on the video, so I greatly appreciate that. I take that advice, you use that advice and I apply that advice. So another one here is going to be Jack Wolf. Jack Wolf, man, you've had all the comments lately. And Mike Humphreys. Oh, Mike Humphreys, if I ever met you, man, I'd shake your hand, right? You've been here basically virtually since my channel started, and you have always been on the positive side of things. You're doing awesome stuff over there at your channel. Your channel is even bigger than mine. Like I said, I'm a subscriber of yours. And I really greatly appreciate you coming in and liking the content and checking stuff out. And hopefully anything that I've said could have been of some help for you, So another one here is going to be Dan Class. You had a comment. Slew Hunter or Finding Time Outdoors. Yeah, I had you shout it out, I don't know, in a video probably 4 or 5 months ago. Glad you finally found it. I tried to shout out everybody who leaves comments on my videos, because I think if you guys have the time to be invested in watching me and taking my advice and listening to what I have to say, and you guys go the extra mile of leaving it in the comments, or let me know what you guys think in the comments, I definitely owe it back to you guys to at least give you a shout out, right? Because you guys all drive the channel, and I don't want anybody to ever forget that. But I have a huge list of videos, ideas. I'll probably do a poll in the community. The next video that I am going to post is going to be a podcast. I haven't got a podcast out in almost 2 weeks, so the next one's going to be the podcast. But after that, I'm going to have probably a decent sized poll with a bunch of different video ideas to get put out for more get back on track of this training idea, where we're sitting down talking about training on dogs, because we kind of fell away from that over the past couple weeks just through getting Tilly in the woods more and having more action like that. But Y'all know what it is. Y'all are awesome. Keep them treated.